You know that feeling you get when you're driving through your hometown and you see a store you used to love all boarded up? Unfortunately, that feeling might become all too familiar in the coming months. We're seeing some of the biggest names in retail stores we all know and love, making the tough decision to close their doors. Inflation is hitting everyone's wallets hard, and with the cost of, well, everything going up, it's understandable that folks are being more careful with their spending. So today we're taking a look at 15 major retailers who are closing locations, some even saying goodbye for good. We'll dive into the reasons behind these closures and what it means for the future of these companies and the communities they serve. First up, we have Office Depot. Remember those back-to-school shopping trips, stocking up on notebooks and pens? Office Depot is saying see you later to about 71 stores this year. They're already packing up in places like Chicago, moving away from those big shopping malls. Remember how much the world changed a few years ago? Suddenly everyone was working and learning from home, and those online orders for office supplies skyrocketed. Office Depot's online sales are booming, but those in-person sales? Not so much. They're down a whopping 11% from last year. They're shifting their focus to their website, beefing up their IT services for businesses and finding new ways to connect with customers online. It really makes you think about how much the world of retail is changing right before our eyes. Next up, we're lacing up our sneakers and talking about Foot Locker. This iconic shoe store is a staple in malls across America, but sadly, they're closing 400 stores in 2025. That includes 125 Champ Sports locations, which, if you're a sneakerhead, you know is a big deal. Foot Locker has always been a powerhouse, but even giants can stumble. The company says these closures are all about focusing on their best-performing stores and streamlining their business. They're calling it optimizing their retail footprint, which, let's be honest, sounds a lot nicer than closing stores. The stores they're closing are mostly those mall locations that haven't been doing so hot lately. It's a risky move, but Foot Locker is hoping it pays off in the long run. Only time will tell if they can keep their footing in this ever-changing retail landscape. Let's move on to a store that's all about healthy living, Whole Foods. Since 2021, we've seen a wave of Whole Foods closures. Over 71 stores have shut their doors, and now Amazon, which owns Whole Foods, is thinning the herd even further, closing 9 more stores across the country. CEO Andy Jassy says they're taking a hard look at their stores and making tough choices about which ones are worth keeping open. It's all about adapting to the way people shop and making sure they're investing in the right places. Now for a store that's all about fresh, healthy food, let's talk about Sprouts Farmers Market. They've been popping up everywhere lately, right? It seemed like they were on a roll, adding 30 new stores just this year. But hold on a sec, because even Sprouts is feeling the heat. Turns out not all those new stores are thriving. So they're doing a little pruning, closing down some locations that haven't been performing as well as they'd hoped. They're shifting gears, focusing on smaller, more efficient stores that can hopefully keep those grocery bills down and customers coming back for more. Remember when Amazon Go stores seemed like the future of shopping? You know, those futuristic stores where you could just grab what you wanted and walk out, no checkout lines, no hassle. Well, it seems even the future has a few glitches. Amazon recently announced they're closing over a dozen Amazon Go stores, including some in New York and San Francisco. This is all part of CEO Andy Jassy's plan to tighten Amazon's belt and focus on their most profitable ventures. It shows that even the biggest companies have to adapt to the changing retail landscape. For our friends in the Northeast, you know Stop and Shop well. It's a grocery store staple, but even they're not immune to the challenges facing the retail world. They've already closed several stores in New Jersey and New York this year, and it seems like more closures might be on the horizon. Since 2020, Stop and Shop has been grappling with rising costs and shrinking revenues, forcing them to make some tough decisions. Stop and Shop is hoping that by streamlining their operations and focusing on their most profitable locations, they can weather this storm. Next up, we're stopping by the pharmacy because even Walgreens is feeling the pinch. They recently announced plans to close a whopping 450 stores, with at least 150 of those closures happening right here in the U.S. They're calling it portfolio optimization, which basically means they're closing underperforming stores and focusing on their more profitable locations. Walgreens is hoping that by embracing technology and streamlining their operations, they can stay ahead of the curve in the ever-evolving world of healthcare. Remember those fun, family-friendly shopping trips to Old Navy? Well, even this beloved brand is facing some choppy seas. Parent company Gap Inc. recently announced they're closing 75 Old Navy stores, mostly in international markets. It seems Old Navy is struggling to stay afloat overseas, with sales down 6.6% to $3.44 billion last month. Old Navy says they're always evaluating their stores and making sure they're in the best locations to serve their customers. They haven't released a list of which stores are closing just yet, but they're promising to share more details soon. Remember when Lidl, the German discount grocery store, burst onto the scene a few years back? They were going to be the Aldi killer, offering even lower prices and shaking up the grocery game. Well, it seems Lidl's American dream hasn't quite gone according to plan. They've been quietly closing stores across the country, from North Carolina to Virginia, New Jersey to South Carolina, and even Maryland and Pennsylvania. It's clear that Lidl is facing an uphill battle in the U.S. market. For all you teens and young adults out there, American Eagle Outfitters has been a go-to for trendy clothes for years, but even this iconic brand is facing some turbulence. They're planning to close a whopping 200 to 250 stores, mostly in those struggling shopping malls. American Eagle is hoping to shrink their store count from 880 to around 400 by 2030, focusing more on their online business. It's a risky move, but American Eagle is betting that they can reach more customers and boost profits by focusing on their digital presence. Only time will tell if this strategy will help them soar to new heights or leave them grounded. Remember Aeropostale? They were all the rage back in the day, but then they hit a rough patch and filed for bankruptcy back in 2016. They bounced back, but it seems those turbulent times aren't quite over. Aeropostale is closing stores again, this time reducing their store count by 11% across the U.S. They're shifting their focus to their online operations, hoping to lure back customers with digital deals and a more convenient shopping experience. It remains to be seen if Aeropostale can truly stage a comeback. Even Target, the beloved discount retailer, isn't immune to the challenges facing the retail industry. They've been hit hard by theft and organized retail crime, and it's taking a toll on their bottom line. In a move that shocked many, Target announced they're closing 9 stores due to these issues. They're calling it a matter of safety for their employees and customers. These closures are a stark reminder of the challenges facing retailers today, and they're a sign that even the biggest companies are vulnerable. Remember Moose Jaw, the outdoor retailer that Walmart bought a while back? Well, it seems their time in the Walmart family was short-lived. Dick's Sporting Goods recently acquired Moose Jaw and promptly announced they're closing all but 3 of their stores. It seems Dick's has other plans for their outdoor retail strategy, and those plans don't involve a large Moose Jaw presence. It's a reminder that the retail world is constantly evolving, and sometimes even big acquisitions don't work out as planned. Signet Jewelers, the company behind Zales, Jared, and Kay Jewelers, is feeling the pressure to shine brighter than ever. But with sales down nearly 10% from last year, they're facing an uphill battle. To cut costs and refocus their efforts, Signet is closing up to 150 stores, mostly in those struggling shopping malls. They're hoping that by closing underperforming stores and focusing on their online presence, they can regain their sparkle. But only time will tell if these efforts will be enough to win back customers. And finally, we come to Sears, a name that was once synonymous with American retail. But sadly, Sears' story is a cautionary tale of a retail giant that lost its way. Once the largest retailer in the world, Sears has been struggling for years, burdened by debt and unable to keep up with changing consumer tastes. Today, only a handful of Sears stores remain, and it seems their days are numbered. It's a sad end for a company that was once a cornerstone of American retail, but it's a reminder that even the mightiest can fall. It's tough to see these iconic brands struggling, but their stories highlight the incredible changes happening in the retail world. The rise of online shopping, changing consumer habits, and a challenging economic climate are forcing retailers to adapt or risk being left behind. As we've seen, some companies are embracing technology, streamlining their operations, and finding new ways to connect with customers online. Thank you for watching.